This week on Not Just Another Sex Podcast. I know you guys might be familiar with the What Men Want conversation that we usually have every June for Men's Health Awareness Month. But I had not done anything really with a panel of women. And I was just like, okay, who would I do that with? And what would we talk about?
I have to have something. Come on, pirate. Just snatch it off. Just snatch it off. Because you interrupted. I'm over here bearing my soul.
I know I was trying to look decent because I was sitting next to you while you burned your soul. It's all right. Y'all know it's real content made by real people.
So I'm excited to get into this conversation and see how it goes. Hey, sugar. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult. I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday. I am your host, Samaya Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast. Welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. My name is Samaya, and thank you so much for joining me today for another episode. So before we get into it, we're going to start off with a review. This one says, episode 62. I love this pod. My husband and I have listened to it multiple times together on car rides. This episode definitely is my favorite right now. I share it on my group chats. Listen, baby, when your purpose hurts. My purpose is helping others, but I feel burned out many times, but I know I have that energy, but I have to take care of myself as well. So I know that feeling of having that moment when you are down to your last and people betting and leaning on you because others are there to catch you. Thank you all, and sending love, Tab. Thank you so much for sharing a review. I know that we listen to things and usually we don't share a review until somebody like piss us off. So, and even though you love something, you don't really even think to just stop and tell somebody else about it. So the fact that you did that, I really do appreciate it. This show costs absolutely nothing for you guys to take in and hear all my business and see how I figured it out. The only thing I ask is that you please just engage with the content. You know, it costs to make content, and you know, the YouTube is monetized, you know, things like that. And there are corporations that will pay ads. So the more that you guys share, comment, and write a review, not only does it help me when I'm feeling like, damn, do I really want to keep getting on the internet and sharing my business, but also it does help with those analytics. So please don't hesitate to tell a friend, repost something to your stories, or just leave a review. I really would appreciate it. So, all right. Welcome back. I do have 3 amazing, beautiful, talented guests today. And so I got the girls here. I have Miss Nikkita Grady. I have Miss Ashley Cobb. And I also have Miss Mikki Bay. So say hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Let's just start from the beginning, and you guys can just introduce yourselves and let the folks know who you are. We have some reoccurring guests. Ashley has been with us before, and Mikki was here recently, and you guys know the Real Mama Pod that we produced just had Nikkita as a guest at their live show. So we're amongst friends here. So yes, go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks.
Hi y'all, I'm Nikkita Grady. I am a postpartum pleasure and intimacy coach. I help women reconnect with their bodies and their partners while deepening intimacy after childbirth.
All right, girl. Oh, go ahead, baby. Ashley, like, what you want? What do you want from me?
So my name is Ashley Cobb. I am like the ratchet Dr. Ruth, right? I am a sex educator that helps women in their pleasure and prevention.
Love that.
Hey, y'all. I'm Mikki Bay. I'm a life and relationship coach specializing in emotional regulations, especially for women and high achievers.
All right. Well, today I'm super excited because I really just wanted to do something a little different. I know you guys might be familiar with the What Men Want conversation that we usually have every June for Men's Health Awareness Month. But I had not done anything really with a panel of women, and I was just like, okay, who would I do that with, and what would we talk about? And so this is the first one, and all of us, of course, have the things in common of working in intimacy, pleasure, sex, prevention, all those types of things. So I'm excited to get into this conversation and see how it goes. All right. So y'all have all heard the show or been here before, so y'all know how we do this. We just go ahead and walk through the show with me. Okay. All right. So we start off with the adult tip of the day. The adult tip of the day is like 5 minutes. My therapist says, or here's a hack or something like that, because like when you're growing up and you're the adult in the room, I don't know about y'all, but it takes a long time to sit in and realize you're the one that's responsible for like your healing and your happiness. Everything is on you. And sometimes that should be hard. So we just want to give you like something that's real small. So if nothing else, you already adulted today, right? All right. So today's adult tip of the day is said. This one is one from like Twitter or something. I don't even remember. It says hardest part about chasing your dream is trying to understand if God is giving you signs to stop or is he testing your faith to keep going.
Ooh, yes.
I'm gonna say that one more time, y'all. Hardest part about chasing your dream is trying to understand if God is giving you signs to stop or is he testing your faith to keep going. And this came from, I don't know how to pronounce this.
Some person off Twitter.
Yes, and I'm like, okay, I'll put it below. All right. But yeah, that should slap the hell out of me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like my intuition is strong, and I've been growing it for years, and sometimes it is so challenging that I'm like, is it time to shift? And especially in sex education and intimacy, where, you know, at one point, especially during COVID, this was thriving and everybody was in the house. And so they had to dust off their coochies and figure out how to make stuff work, right?
Yeah.
And then now you have like eggs is $12. So the last thing you about to do is pay for somebody to teach you how to rub your own coochie. Like, it's just so many things. But I would love to hear if you guys had anything to, you know, add to this.
I mean,
Don't all speak at once. Don't worry about it.
Well, that definitely resonates because there are times where I'm just like, am I on the right path? Like, should I just quit, go back to corporate? And then there are other times like I know that I'm in the right spot. I know I'm in the right path. I know I'm doing the right thing because I feel like God is providing me with the tools, the resources, and the connections to be successful and to survive. So that motivates me to keep going, but it's tough, real tough.
I think it depends also what you consider successful.
Yeah.
And I realized that for me and the way that I'm set up, at a different point in my life, like stability was really what success was to me. But now that I feel what it feels like to have my anxiety under control, to have PTSD under control, to have so many things that have toyed with my mind for years, actually feeling what that feels like to have that relax and be at peace, to me, that is stability. Because when I literally was monetarily stable, but mentally I was fighting for my life.
Right.
And so it's like, you don't have that energy all day, every day. And so now I'm just living and I'm just like, whatever the fuck happens is still better than me not having my sanity. You know what I'm saying? So this makes me happy.
You know, Atlanta is expensive, right? And I don't want to be living on the bridge, so I need stability.
Yeah, that's real.
Well, I think too, you can be a both and person. And I think sometimes the conversation about entrepreneurship is like, you got to go all in. And it's like, you don't. You absolutely do not.
Don't.
And I have straddled the fence for 14 years. I've been an entrepreneur much longer than I've been in corporate, but I've started at the bottom in corporate and gone all the way up to executive leadership. So, and I will do it again if I feel like it, right? Because I'm going to do what is the path of most allowance for my life, which means if it makes more sense for me to go and get a job to relieve the monetary stress and pressure, that is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try to make it, you know, look however you want to think entrepreneurship looks on the gram. Like, no, it's real life out here. And if you need to do something to relieve your stress, do that for yourself. Now, I will say, this person said something about like God testing you.
Yeah.
And I don't personally believe God is testing you. I think that it's a part of the process, right? The challenges are because you need that particular thing for you to gain a skill, for you to get some knowledge. There's something on the other side of that. So really learning to look at the things that are in front of you as opportunities and how can I grow from this, and not necessarily is this trying to take me out. Right? Because yes, it can feel like that.
Fighting for my
life.
Okay.
I'm fighting for my life. But I think we as if you've been in this game long enough, you've been through seasons and cycles, right? And so you know it's not going to always be like that. And only you can answer the question of if you should quit or not, right? Is it really your passion? Is it something that, because I remember when I first started, I was a makeup artist. And I felt like if I didn't do it, I was going to die. And I didn't care if I had to sleep on somebody's couch, if I had to sleep in my car, because I had a dream. And so what this person is saying is that I have a dream and I don't know if the adversity is worth it. And then so I would say, listen, it could be a day by day decision. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be this long drawn out. I'm making this decision. I never get to change my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. I think that after everything is the exact same, it just gets bigger. So it's like if you make a cake and somebody, oh girl, your cake's so good. Can you make one for my wedding? Now that same cake that took 3 eggs, and 1 cup of flour, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like, oh, I need 40 bags of flour. I need 48 eggs. Like it's much bigger. And I think that after you get good at the 3-egg cake, now you need a 5-egg cake, a little bit more. And so
stretch yourself.
You just keep doing it over and over and over. And every time you do it or you rebuild something, it's a bigger thing to knock down and it's a bigger thing to regrow. And I'm just at that point where I understand this is the process continuously. And it just depends on how much energy you have to sit with it. And I'm just a flow, not force person. And with that, I'm able to navigate where I'm supposed to be and just understanding that where I'm supposed to be has nothing to do with anybody else. You know, what is peace for me is not. If everybody could just worry about their own goddamn peace, we would really be okay. If you just handle that thing, we argue that so many people are not handling their own peace. They're just trying to say like this is how things should go, and like this spectrum doesn't. Everybody's place of peace is different on that, and because we're all trying to be the same, I feel like it's why there's so much oversaturation in certain things. You got a whole bunch of people trying to do things that's not their purpose or their passion, just to make money. And it's like that's why things are off, because you're like, oh, I can make money like that. We could all make money doing a lot of things.
Even with this industry though, like I get a lot of people that come to me and they're like, how can I get into the industry? Like that's what I want to do. Do you really want to do it, or do you just think it's quick money? Because it's not.
Right, that's for
and then you on the internet talking about sucking dick and cookies and everything else, and now you done fucked up the next job. So you be all right now.
Even when I started, right, I'm like, sex sales, like
okay.
It doesn't.
No, sex is given away. Okay, sex is given away. All right, so we're gonna move on to Twitter Talk. Twitter Talk is where we really get into the what they be tussling, you know, like a little bit of controversy. Y'all know I'm a real self-care healing girly, but I really be trying to have the tea down and like what's going on. So this is my version of that, because I think that like, and we call it Twitter Talk because Black Twitter is just so amazing to me, because it's really the culture, right? It follows you everywhere, no matter what you're talking about. The internet is just Black Twitter, period. Even though it ain't even called Twitter no more, right? So, but today's Twitter Talk is about the 4B movement, and so I'm going to put a couple links below to some TikToks, if TikTok is still a thing by the time this episode drops. You know, they change and shit.
Right.
And the 4B movement is this movement in, I believe, like Korea. And they were talking about how women were opting out of dealing with men. And on the flip side, it was said that basically it's not as big as what the internet is making it seem. But the Western culture got a hold of it, and it has us discussing it, right? So I just want to make sure that I'm being fair. I don't want to mislead anybody like, oh, half the world is not fucking with men no more. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But the fact is that there are people that opt out of it. And that's no different than people opting out of, you know, dating men altogether, deciding to be lesbian, or opting into dating couples or whatever. It's no different. But the difference to me is they're doing this saying that like, I'm tired of the patriarchy. I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm tired of like people not growing, healing, and just really being treated improperly as a woman in whole. And that's not just like having sex or dating or whatever. We're talking about abortion is like not like people, there are men voting on our bodies and not being treated fairly at work and just so many different things. And you know, they say that like it is a little more stricter over there versus like here in the United States, where you can kind of just do whatever the fuck you want, I guess. But yeah, no. with people saying stuff, but I'm saying like ain't nobody stoning you or be like, oh, this is disrespect. Like people literally can go too far or whatever. But anyways, since it did come up, I did think that really raised a question, because I've seen I just turned 32, but I've seen that a lot of women are going long periods of time without dating at all, like at all. And as a sex educator, I've found that a lot of people that teach sex or in sex aren't having a lot of sex at all. Or even if they are, it's not always like that. You know what I mean?
You tell me my secrets, girl.
Sneaking in your bedroom, seeing what's going on. So yeah, I would love to hear. I know I sent you guys some links. I would love to hear what you guys had to say around this 4B movement, and I guess just the conversation, because it was just so crazy to me. I said, damn, that's crazy. They said, we tired of this shit. We done. We cutting y'all off. Like, and to the point that like it does affect like population numbers. So yeah.
My first thought is good for them. right? And I say that because it's a political protest. And it is something that these women have just said, like, I'm fed up with being treated this way. The misogyny is out of control. And we actually control more than you think we do, right? And so by us opting out of relationships, opting out of sex, opting out of whatever relationships can be had between a man and a woman in those countries, even if it's that small population, I think that's really powerful. And I think that that is awesome that they're taking their own agency, right? And to your point, it's not every Korean woman in South Korea, but I think it does say something about the power that we have as women. And I love that. I love that for them.
Yeah. I think power of him is people. At this point, just seeing everybody protest about everything, like the power of the people is really amazing because it has gotten out of control. Like capitalism has really just gone like it's hit the fan, right? You know, just overall patriarchy, all of it has hit the fan, and I love seeing people get pissed off.
Yeah.
It's better pissed off than pissed on, because at this point I feel like in the United States we're just pissed on, like everything.
People have it worse. Some people have it worse.
Yeah, but
I think that's one of the reasons too. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's one of the reasons too. Like, I did a little bit of research on it, and they were just saying like a lot of women are opting out of marriage and having kids because they're afraid of the economic status. Like, it's expensive to have a family, and it's expensive to have kids. So they're just like, I'd rather be single. So I love that they're taking that stance on it too, because I feel like society pressures us into marriage and becoming parents, and
It does.
and they don't tell us like, okay, if you have these kids, like, it's so expensive, the cost of living is already high, and now you got these kids that do all these things, these activities and everything. It's like, just, I think y'all should have more kids.
What's crazy is that having a kid out your own coochie and out of your own egg ain't even free.
Right.
What do you mean? You telling me if I have it in the hospital, I could end up paying like $7,000, $8,000, like with insurance, right?
Right.
But if I have it at home and then just come to the hospital, this is lower bill. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. I think that a concern of like safety and being believed as a woman, I think is my biggest thing. And like the accountability when it comes for like with men and women. I don't know, it's a back and forth thing. I do understand that. But even the conversation of like, if you were walking in the woods and you saw on one side of the street is a man and the other side is a bear, which one would you end up walking on? And I have not talked to one woman that was like, oh, I'll go on the side with the man. They're all like, I just go on the side with the bear. Like, bears don't attack that often.
Wow.
Because if you look at it, like this lady was like, well, actually, if you look at bear attacks, it's less than 6, you know, it's like less than 6 or whatever. And she was like, also, nobody would not believe me if I said I was attacked by a bear. And I said, damn.
That's strong.
I said, that's real.
Yeah.
And so women are really hurt. And that's really what I took from that, is that women are really hurt. And I don't see any way not to be hurt when we're raised that relationships matter and love matters and how you show up for your family matters. And then men are like, this is another thing to do to show that you have stability. And, you know, what we think of love and partnership is different. And when we say shit that makes sense, it's like, well, that's not really what it was for, like back in the day. So it feels like a tussle, a constant tussle that we were brought up one way and men are brought another, and all these systems are breaking down. That's just how I'm feeling. Anyways, thank you guys for chiming in. We're going to get on to the topic because it's like 4 of us. So I feel like when we chime in, that time could just start eating away really quick. So first things first, I want to know, how has the sex industry changed since you entered it? What have you noticed?
Don't look at me. I'm not in the sex
Dating, relationships.
I'm not in the sex industry.